Welcome back to the deep dive where we, like we always do, try to unpack these complex topics and really just bring you the important information.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be exploring a concept that's becoming pretty popular these days called good energy.
Yeah.
And we're going to be taking all our information from the book Good Energy, written by Dr. Casey Means and Callie Means.
Right.
So during this deep dive, we're going to be uncovering some pretty surprising uh, connections between our modern lifestyles and the decline in our cellular energy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we'll be talking about, practical ways that you can reclaim it.
Yeah, that's right. This book really makes you rethink the way we think about health. It shifts the focus from treating isolated diseases to understanding the energy that powers, like, literally every single cell in our body.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big idea.
It is a big idea.
And one of the things I thought was just so interesting that the book starts out with is that 6 out of 10 adults are living with at least one chronic illness, and that American life expectancy is actually declining.
It is.
So what's going on there?
Yeah, and what's interesting here is that the authors argue that this isn't just an inevitable part of aging,
Right.
They're proposing that this decline in health is actually directly linked to a decline in what they call good energy,
Okay.
which is the ability of our cells to efficiently create and utilize energy.
So almost like our bodies are facing like an energy crisis.
Exactly, an energy crisis fueled by like the mismatch between our modern environment and the needs of our cells.
Yeah, I can already hear people listening thinking, well, isn't this just what happens as we get older? But the book really challenges that assumption head on.
It does, it does. And they use a really compelling case study to illustrate this point, the story of Sophia.
Okay, tell me about Sophia.
So Sophia was a 52-year-old woman who was dealing with a whole laundry list of health issues.
Oh, no.
Recurring sinus infections, prediabetes, high blood pressure, back pain, even depression. She had been to multiple doctors, tried a variety of different treatments, but nothing seemed to be addressing the root cause.
Yeah, so it sounds like she was stuck in this loop of treating one symptom only to have another one pop up.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating is that Dr. Casey Means, who was a surgeon at the time, she had this aha moment
Uh-huh.
while operating on Sophia. She realized that they were so focused on treating Sophia's individual symptoms that they were missing the bigger picture.
And what was the bigger picture?
The bigger picture was that all of Sophia's seemingly unrelated health issues might actually be interconnected symptoms of a deeper problem, a decline in her good energy.
So instead of putting out these individual fires, they needed to figure out what was causing the fires to begin with.
Precisely. And this realization sparked a major shift in Dr. Means' thinking about health, a shift from this disease-focused model to what they call an energy-centric approach.
Wow, that's a pretty radical departure from the way most conventional medicine is practiced.
It is, it is.
So how do we go about addressing this energy crisis? What do we do?
Well, the book outlines this three-pronged approach. They call them the three pillars of good energy: food as information,
Okay.
stress management,
Okay.
and the rhythms of living.
All right, well, let's dive into that first pillar. Food is information.
Yeah.
This one really caught my attention. Um, what does it even mean to think of food as information?
It's such an interesting concept. Instead of viewing food simply as calories or fuel, the book reframes it as molecular information that directly influences the structure and function of our cells.
So it's not just about how much we eat, but the quality and type of information we're feeding ourselves.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I'm really curious to hear how this plays out in practical terms. What are some examples?
Yeah, absolutely. The book gives some really compelling examples.
Okay.
For instance, it explains how protein plays a crucial role in building insulin receptors on our cells.
And those are important for regulating blood sugar, right?
Exactly. They act like little doorways that allow glucose to enter our cells to be used as energy.
Okay.
And without enough protein, our cells can't build enough of these insulin receptors, which means they become less sensitive to insulin.
And that can lead to insulin resistance.
Yes.
Which is a major risk factor for type 2 diabetes.
You got it. It's a cascade effect that starts with something as seemingly simple as not getting enough protein.
Wow, that's a really powerful illustration of how food choices directly impact our cellular function and ultimately our overall health. Are there any other examples that illustrate this idea of food as information?
Definitely. The book talks about the role of omega-3 fats in reducing inflammation. Those healthy fats found in fatty fish like salmon and walnuts.
Yeah, I try to get those in regularly.
Mhm.
But what's the connection to inflammation?
Well, omega-3s actually change the way our immune cells communicate. They basically send signals that tell those cells to calm down.
So instead of being in a constant state of alert, our immune system can function more efficiently. It's like sending a memo to chill out.
Exactly. It's fascinating how these tiny molecules in our food can have such a profound impact on our bodies.
Yeah.
And there's another example that I found particularly intriguing, the role of fiber.
Okay, so fiber is important for digestion. We all know that.
Right.
But how does it fit into this concept of food as information?
Well, the book takes it a step further and explains how the fiber we eat interacts with our gut microbiome, that vast ecosystem of bacteria that live in our intestines.
Yeah, I've heard so much about the gut microbiome lately. It seems to be involved in everything.
It really does.
So what's happening with fiber and the gut microbiome?
So when we eat fiber, our gut bacteria ferment it and produce these beneficial compounds like short-chain fatty acids.
What do those do?
These short-chain fatty acids act like little messengers,
Okay.
influencing everything from our immune system to our metabolism to our mood.
Wow. So it's like having a team of microscopic chefs in our gut, transforming food into medicine.
That's a great way to put it. And it underscores the importance of feeding those chefs the right ingredients, a diverse array of fiber-rich foods.
So based on this understanding of food as information, what does the book recommend in terms of specific foods?
Well, the book advocates for a diet that prioritizes organic and regenerative foods, those grown without harmful pesticides and in a way that actually replenishes the soil.
Yeah, that makes sense. The quality of our food directly reflects the health of our environment and ultimately our own health as well.
Exactly. And the book is pretty clear about what to avoid: ultra-processed foods.
Right.
They argue that these foods are essentially devoid of any beneficial information and can actually disrupt our cellular function.
And they even provide a list of specific ultra-processed foods to steer clear of, right? What are some of the biggest offenders?
Yeah, they recommend cutting out soda, juice, sweetened milks, sports drinks, basically anything with added sugar.
Yeah.
They also advise avoiding refined grains like white bread, pasta, and pastries. All of those quickly turn to sugar in our bloodstream, leading to energy spikes and crashes that wreak havoc on our metabolism.
It's amazing how much power our food choices have over our cellular energy. And it's a good reminder that what we eat is not just about calories. It's about feeding our cells the information they need to thrive.
Absolutely. And that's just the first pillar of good energy.
Wow.
Are you ready to explore the next one?
I am definitely ready, but we'll have to save that for part 2. Okay, so on to the second pillar of good energy, stress management.
Mm.
This one feels particularly relevant in today's world. I mean, I know I can certainly relate to feeling the effects of stress.
Yeah, it's something we
Yeah.
all experience, but what's fascinating is that chronic stress doesn't just affect us like mentally and emotionally, it also has a direct impact on our cellular energy.
So all those deadlines, traffic jams, relationship dramas, those are actually like messing with our cells' ability to function properly.
Precisely. When we're constantly in that fight or flight mode, our bodies prioritize survival, over other functions like cellular repair and energy production.
So our cells are essentially running on fumes, just trying to keep up with the demands of modern life.
Yes, and over time, this chronic stress can lead to inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which, further deplete our good energy reserves.
It's like a vicious cycle, right? We get stressed, which depletes our energy, which makes us even more susceptible to stress.
Exactly, and it highlights why stress management isn't just about feeling better mentally. It's a crucial component of maintaining good energy and overall health.
Okay, so we know that chronic stress is a major drain on our good energy, but realistically, we can't just eliminate stress from our lives.
Right.
Right.
Of course not. And the book doesn't suggest that. It's more about recognizing the impact that stress has on our bodies and then finding healthy ways to manage it.
Right. It's about building resilience, not avoiding stress altogether.
Exactly.
And one of the things that really struck me in the book was Dr. Mean's personal story about confronting her fear of death.
Yes, that was a powerful example. She describes how her fear of death was this constant source of anxiety, draining her energy and preventing her from fully embracing life.
Yeah, that must have taken a lot of courage to confront such a deep-seated fear.
It did, but by acknowledging and accepting that fear, she was able to release some of its hold on her and reclaim her energy.
Hmm.
It's like the saying, what we resist persists.
Yeah, that resonates with me. So often it's our resistance to our experiences, both positive and negative, that creates suffering.
Absolutely. So the book encourages us to identify our own stress triggers, whether it's work, relationships, or even the constant influx of news, and then develop strategies to manage those stressors in a healthy way.
So what kind of strategies does the book recommend?
It offers a range of practical tips, things like mindfulness, meditation, spending time in nature, and even exploring therapies like psilocybin-assisted therapy, which has shown promising results in treating conditions like depression and anxiety.
Right, and those are all great examples of how we can actively cultivate a sense of calm and resilience.
Exactly, and it's about finding what works for you. What helps you shift out of that stress response and tap into your body's natural capacity for healing and rejuvenation.
Yeah, it's empowering to remember that we have more control over our stress response than we often realize.
Exactly, and that awareness is a key step in reclaiming our good energy.
So we've covered food and stress. Now let's move on to the third pillar of good energy, rhythms of living.
Okay.
What exactly does that mean?
This pillar is all about aligning our lifestyle with our natural biological rhythms,
Okay.
the cycles of sleep and wakefulness, light and darkness, activity and rest that have evolved over millennia to optimize our cellular function.
So we're talking about getting enough sleep, getting some sunshine, and moving our bodies regularly. Those are all
Yeah.
things that, we know are important for our health, but this pillar seems to suggest that there's a deeper connection to our cellular energy.
That's right. The book delves into the science behind why these rhythms are so crucial for maintaining good energy. For example, it highlights the importance of getting enough sleep. And I'm not just talking about feeling rested.
Yeah, what else is going on during sleep that impacts our good energy?
Well, sleep is when our cells have a chance to repair themselves, detoxify, and recharge their energy stores.
Hmm.
It's like hitting the reset button for our bodies.
Yeah, and I've read that even one night of skimping on sleep can have a significant impact on our metabolism.
It's true, sleep deprivation disrupts our hormone balance, increases inflammation, and reduces our insulin sensitivity, all of which contribute to that energy crisis we talked about earlier.
So those 7 to 8 hours of sleep are not just a luxury. They're essential for maintaining good energy.
Exactly. And another key rhythm highlighted in the book is light exposure,
Okay.
particularly morning sunlight.
I've always felt better after a morning walk in the sunshine, but I never really understood why.
Well, sunlight acts as this powerful biological on switch, triggering a cascade of hormonal and genetic processes that regulate our energy levels throughout the day.
So it's like setting our internal clock to the rhythm of the natural world.
Precisely, exposure to morning sunlight helps to optimize our circadian rhythm,
Right.
which influences everything from our sleep-wake cycle to our hormone production to our metabolism.
It's amazing how something as simple as sunlight can have such a profound impact on our cellular energy.
Yeah.
What about movement? How does that fit into this pillar of rhythms of living?
The book emphasizes the importance of movement throughout the day, and not just structured exercise, but regular low-level movement,
Okay.
like walking, gardening, or even just standing up from our desks more often.
So it's about incorporating more movement into our daily routine rather than trying to cram it all into an hour at the gym.
Exactly. This type of movement, what they call NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, helps to boost our metabolism, improve our circulation, and increase our energy expenditure, all of which contribute to good energy.
And I imagine it also helps to counteract the negative effects of sitting for long periods, which is something that many of us do, in our modern lives.
Absolutely. By simply moving more throughout the day, we can help our bodies function more efficiently and maintain that optimal energy flow.
This pillar really emphasizes that our bodies are designed to thrive in sync with the natural rhythms of the world around us.
It does. And by aligning our lifestyle with these rhythms, prioritizing sleep, getting morning sunlight, and moving our bodies regularly, we can create an environment where our cells can flourish.
So we've covered the three pillars. Food is information, stress management, and rhythms of living. These pillars offer a framework for understanding how we can nourish and support our good energy.
Yeah.
But how do we know if our efforts are actually paying off? Are there any measurable ways to track our good energy?
That's a great question. Yeah, I love data. So is there a way to measure good energy?
The book dedicates a whole section to biomarkers and practical tools, that can provide insights into our cellular energy levels. Okay, biomarkers. Are we talking about fancy lab tests? What exactly are we looking at?
Not necessarily fancy, but the book recommends a few key metabolic blood tests that, most doctors already check during a routine checkup.
Okay.
Things like fasting glucose, HDL cholesterol, triglycerides,
Right.
those standard markers.
Uh-huh.
That can give us a glimpse into how efficiently our cells are using energy.
So no need for any like invasive or expensive testing. We can get a pretty good picture of our good energy
Yeah.
just by looking at those routine blood work results.
Exactly. But what's interesting is that the book provides optimal ranges for these markers, and they're often stricter than the standard ranges considered normal by conventional medicine.
So even if your doctor says your numbers are within the normal range, you might still be able to improve your good energy by aiming for those optimal ranges.
Precisely, even subtle deviations from those optimal ranges can be early warning signs of underlying metabolic dysfunction.
It's like getting a heads up that something might be out of balance,
Yeah.
giving us a chance to make adjustments before those warning signs turn into full-tone health issues.
Exactly. It's all about prevention and taking a proactive approach to our health.
Right.
And in addition to blood tests, the book also introduces a really cool tool, the continuous glucose monitor, or CGM.
Yeah, CGM seem to be all the rage these days.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of people wearing them, even celebrities. But how do they fit into this whole good energy picture?
So a CGM is a small device that you wear on your arm, and it continuously tracks your blood sugar levels throughout the day and night.
Okay.
This gives you incredible insights into how your food choices and lifestyle habits are impacting your metabolism in real time.
So instead of just getting like a snapshot of our blood sugar at one point in time,
Yeah.
we can see how it fluctuates throughout the day, giving us a much more nuanced understanding of how our bodies are responding to different foods and activities.
Exactly. And the book emphasizes that CGMs aren't just for people with diabetes. They can be incredibly useful for anyone who wants to optimize their good energy and overall health.
Yeah, I can see how that data could be really empowering. It's like having a personal metabolic detective on your arm, helping you decode those energy fluctuations.
That's a great way to put it. And by tracking your blood sugar, you can start to see patterns and make adjustments to your diet and lifestyle that support stable energy levels and overall metabolic health.
So by paying attention to our biomarkers and utilizing tools like CGMs, we can gain a deeper understanding of what's happening at a cellular level and make informed choices to boost our good energy. But this all sounds like a lot of information.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin to put all this into practice?
That's where the book's Good Energy Plan comes in.
Okay.
It outlines 25 specific steps you can take to boost your cellular energy and improve your overall health.
25 steps. That sounds a bit overwhelming. We're talking about like major life overhauls here.
Not at all. They emphasize that even small changes can make a significant difference. Many of them are things we've already discussed, eliminating liquid calories,
Right.
eating at least 30 grams of protein per meal,
Okay.
prioritizing sleep, getting morning sunlight, and incorporating more movement into our daily routine.
Right. Those all feel doable and sustainable, not like some crash diet or extreme workout regimen.
Exactly. And there are other steps in the plan, such as practicing mindfulness, spending time in nature, even exposing yourself to cold temperatures, like taking cold showers or going for a swim in a cold lake.
Okay, that one sounds a bit intense, but I'm intrigued. What's the reasoning behind cold exposure?
Exposing ourselves to cold temperatures actually activates something called brown fat,
Okay.
which is a type of fat that burns calories to generate heat. It's like our body's internal furnace.
You were literally shivering our way to better health.
In a way, yes, but it's not just about burning calories activating brown fat. Also improves our insulin sensitivity and helps to regulate our blood sugar level.
Wow, that's a surprising benefit I wouldn't have expected.
It's pretty fascinating, and it highlights how the Good Energy Plan encourages us to explore different strategies to optimize our cellular function and tap into our body's innate healing capacity.
So the key takeaway here is that it's not about deprivation or extreme measures. It's about making small, sustainable changes that add up to big improvements in our cellular energy and overall health.
Exactly. And the beauty of this approach is that it empowers you to take control of your own health and well-being.
I love that it's not about following a rigid set of rules, but rather about understanding the principles of good energy and making choices that support your body's natural ability to thrive.
It is, and I'd like to leave our listeners with a final thought. Think of yourself as a gardener, tending to the ecosystem of your cells.
Hmm.
Every choice you make, the food you eat, the stress you manage, the rhythms you follow, contributes to the health and vitality of your internal garden.
That's such a beautiful analogy. So what will you cultivate today? What steps will you take to nourish your good energy and create a thriving internal garden. We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and inspiration to embark on your own journey towards greater health and vitality.